Hey there guys, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. This is Chetan here from Double Cube and welcome back to a brand new Cinema 4D tutorial. It's been a very long time since I made one and I've been getting a lot of questions, not questions, actually requests from to make beginner tutorials. So here is a beginner tutorial and let me just show you what we're going to be creating before we jump into the tutorial. So that's basically the dancing camera animation, which I actually found on Facebook when I was going through the Cinema 4D Maxon group, and a lot of things, cool things that are uploaded over there. So I'm going to be doing a complete breakdown, not going to be building anything from scratch, but I'm going to be showing you everything in detail. So let's start off. So let me just hide everything over here. So we can hide the camera for now. And let's hide all the floor, the rig, and this is the null which we need for the camera. Let's hide this circle. And okay, so this is basically our our animation. So I've kept the timeline to 150 frames. So if you guys don't know how to do that, you just want to click over here and type 150 and that should do the trick. And now we can check the unbend deformer as well. And okay, let's start. So my render settings are 1280 by 720 and I've applied global illumination and ambient occlusion, which I am going to be talking about later again when we come to the render settings. So the first thing we want is this big boy, this big cube. So it's just a simple cube and you can you can pause the video and copy down the settings if you guys want, and I've added a fillet as well, fillet of 10 centimeter and a subdivision of 5. Simple, nothing much. So how I'm going to go about this, I'm going to show you all the elements and then I'm going to show you the animation and the keyframes for that as well. Next we have a cylinder right over here. So if okay, let me go to the last bit somewhere over here. Yeah, that should do the trick. Let me hide everything, open up slowly everything by everything. Okay, so here in the cylinder we have a couple of items over here. So the first one is, okay, so the first one is this, let's choose this one. Let's hide this. Okay, so the first one is this cylinder right over here. So these are the settings as well. 75 for the radius, height is 20, and these are the coordinates, so you guys can stop and pause the video and copy them anytime you want. And then after that we have another cylinder. So here is a cylinder right over here. Now this cylinder was actually edited. So what you want to do, okay, let me just so what you want to do is you want to go to caps, and for this cylinder it you want to uncheck caps, and then you don't have to make it editable actually. You just have to remove the caps, and you can just place it right over here. After that we have a disc, which is going to be the lens. So the disc settings are 60 centimeters for the radius, segments is 4, disc segments is 4, rotation segments is 50, and you want to place it right over here and make sure that it is not touching the outer edge. After that we have the tube, which is basically the lens part, the lens camera part, where you actually turn it to change the focal length. And that is again a tube, simple tube with an inner radius of 60, outer radius of 70, and you can add a couple of rotation segments if you want, but that's okay, that doesn't matter to me. So once we're done with that, we can open up this cube right over here, and this is the flash part, the way you can flash it. So it's just a simple cube of 70 centimeters on the X and the Y and 45 on the Z, and you just want to place it up right over here. And then you want to add in a taper deformer. So if you go here and choose a taper deformer, it's kind of getting cut, I guess, but it's okay. Taper deformer, and you want to, let's unhide that. So it looks like that. So what you want to do is you want to parent it to the cube, and then you want to click on fit to parent. So what that does is automatically resets the size of the X, Y, and Z positions, the dimensions to the dimensions of the cube. And then I'm going to give it a strength of 32, but you can give it whatever you want. So if you can see, what I'm doing here is as I increase or decrease, I'm getting some deformation. That's perfect. After that, we have a couple more cubes over here, and these are basically small cubes, which are the lights that flash. So there's one over here. So that is going to be this. So it's a simple cube of 20 centimeters on the X, Y, and Z, and I have another one over here, same, and another one here over the same. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the modeling. Now, before we get into the animation, there's another deformer that we use, which is called a bend deformer. So what we need to do here is you want to group all of these into a null. And one more thing I forgot, yeah, the text over here. I mean, the text is probably you're up to you, but I just put it back here on the back, and this has completely no animation, just a simple text. If you want the font, I am using Spot Monkey, and that's a nice font. You guys can use that. So then what we want to do is, after you group them into a null, you want to group them into a null again. So how you want to group them is you want to hit Alt G, sorry, Control. Let's try that again. Alt, whoops. Oh, okay. I'm grouping too many nulls. Okay, yeah. So if I select these two and hit Alt G, it groups them into a null, as you can see right over here. So I'm going to just undo that. So Alt G is the shortcut for grouping them into a null, and then you want to use the bend deformer, and what you want to do is you want to fit to parent. So when you fit to parent, it actually goes up, but what you want to do is you just want to bring it down, and pretty much cover the whole the whole camera. That should do the trick. You don't need to fit to parent exactly. So yeah, okay, after that, make sure that the bend deformer is inside a bigger null and also a part of the camera. So let me just name this camera for you guys. It's going to be confusing. Camera, there you go, camera. Beautiful. Now let's get into the animation. So the bend deformer is basically strength. So so every 10 frames it's going to go to 10 degrees and back to -10, and then 10, -10. So that's pretty it. So let's just have a look at that, and yeah, okay. So as you can see, every 10 frames is go -10 and +10, -10 and +10, and you want to make sure that the angle is set to 0, and you want to check on keep y-axis length. So if I show you what happens, so if I uncheck y-axis length, it as you can see, it extends, it makes it more bigger and more distorted, but that's not what we want. We want to keep it to the actual length of the cube. Perfect. Now we can start off with the basic animations of the camera here. So the first one is no animation of the cube. Now to these cylinders, you want to parent each of these inside one another. So if I go to the first cylinder, which is, okay, let me just shrink this down. Okay, so here on frame 0, let's go to the objects. So you want to uncheck, so you want to put a keyframe on the Z position and the X, Y, Z size. Now if you are using R15, you will have to hold Control and click on that. As you can see here, it creates a keyframe, but if you're using R16 and above, you can just click on the stopwatch, the keyframe button, and it adds a keyframe. So on frame 0, everything is 0, and the cylinder is right at the back, which you cannot see it obviously because the size is 0. And on frame 6, we want to make it 1, 1, 1 on the size, and you want to bring it up a little bit forward. So this is the one which we are looking at the moment, this one. And then on frame 10, it becomes 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, and then back onto frame 13, it becomes 1.1. So what I'm actually doing is it expands pretty big, and then it shrinks back. So it gives that bouncy effect. Great. Now you can use the delay effector as well, but since this animation is not too complex, I thought we can go ahead and normally make it just like that. The next one is this cylinder we have right over here. So you can just copy paste the keyframes and move them. So on frame 4 and on frame 10 and on frame 13. So it is let's see, yeah, okay, on frame 4 it is actually same 1.1, and there we go. Yeah, so actually what is happening is, since I am parenting all these into the main cylinder, everything is shrinking at the same time. Now that's why there are no keyframes on the cylinder. The only thing you need to do is animate the Z position. That's it, the Z position. So on frame 4 it is somewhere over here, and on frame 10 it is over here, and on frame 13 it is over here. That's it. It's simple, guys. Next, the disc. So as you can see, again, there are no keyframes on the size. Now there's only one which is on frame 14, that is 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, and on frame 16 it comes back to a normal. And again, as you can see here, is a simple animation of the Z parameter, and actually this is 0 actually over here, so the disk is 0 on frame 7. Next, moving forward, we have the tube. So on frame 10 it is 0, and then on frame 17 it becomes 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, and on frame 20 it becomes 1 again. So that is pretty much it for the first part, where we are animating the cube and the cylinders. Next we have this cube. So on frame, so this actually what happens is it comes up, so it pops back up, so it's just a simple Y position and also a little bit of size. So on frame 17 this is what we have. Then we go forward to frame 24, it goes 1.2, 1.2, 1.2 on the size, and on frame 26 it comes back to 1. Now next we have these ones, which are the lens ones. So as you can see here, on frame 20 I have everything set to 0. On frame 28 everything is 1.1, 1.1, 1.1 for the size, and on frame 30 everything is back to normal. Now I've applied the same things for all the 3 cubes that as you can see over here, but for these 2 cubes there's a little bit of difference. So if I select this cube right over here, and let's move forward a bit. Okay, so from here on frame 50 to frame 150, I have keyframed the Y size. So on frame 50 it is 1, and on frame 65 it comes to 0.5, which gives that eyes closing and opening effect. So it's basically like a face. So you just copy paste the keyframes, and as you can see here, I'm going forward, it shrinks and it opens back up again. And okay, that we can, the last part we can do that later. Now you want to do the same thing for cube 4, and you want to offset it again. So I started here on frame, let's see, 40. So the animation starts here on frame 40, and the animation starts here on frame 50. So which is why we have that nice difference: left eye opening, right eye closing gap. Pretty cool. So that's it. And next, for the last bit, is for the end from frame 140 to frame 150. We just go ahead and shrink everything down to 0. So you just select everything, and you want to go and shrink everything down to 0, so it becomes like this, except the main cube. Great. Now let's have a good look of the animation right over here. Like, okay, let's get away from the camera. Let's do it right over here. Yeah. Perfect. Oops. Okay, we start over again. There we go. Pops everything up. We get some nice animation. We're gonna do the camera animation right now. And boom. That's it. That's cool, guys. That's cool. Now for the camera, what you want to do is, it's gonna be a little complicated, but you know, we can figure it out. So this is the position of the camera. These are the settings right over here, and I have applied a target tag and an align to spline. Now what a target tag does is the camera focuses its full view onto the focus target, and you can use the target tag by going to right click Cinema 4D tags and choosing a target tag, and then I have selected this null, which is right over here, and you can note down the position that is 65 up in the Y. And you're going to click on the target tag, and you want to drag in this null here in the target object. So you just want to drag here and drop it over here. Fantastic. The next thing is you want to drop in this align to spline tag. So camera, Cinema 4D tags, and align to spline. Align to spline, that's perfect. Align to spline. And then in the align to spline tag, you want to choose this circle, which I have over here. And this circle is with a radius of 100 centimeters. Now, as you can see here, if I increase or decrease, the camera moves because the camera is sitting on the spline. So if I go into the top view, maybe I can show you guys. Check this on. Yeah. Yes. So as you can see here, this is the circle, and where is the camera? Yeah, the camera. And as you can see here, the camera is sitting on the circle, and that's brilliant. That's cool. That's a simple way of doing crazy animations, camera animations, I mean. So the circle here is 1000 on the radius, and on frame 120 I bring that down to 650 because I want a closer look at the camera, and on frame 150 it goes back to 1000. Brilliant. Okay. What's up next? What do we do? Let's see. Okay, we've done the camera, the target tag. Okay, so there's a little bit of animation on. Okay, target. Do we have an animation for the target? Yeah, we do have an animation for the target. So on frame 0, it is 60 on the Y and 0 on the Z, and we come forward to frame 100, and I set it to 35, and frame 150 set that back to 65. Okay. Align to spline, yeah, and this is the main part, the position. So as you can see here, as I move this position, it rotates the camera. So on frame 0 you want to set it to 100, and on frame 120 you want to set it to 60. That's depending based on the speed of the camera movement and the animation, and on frame 150 you set that back to 0. Perfect. Now one last thing you want to do is adjust the F curve. So you want to go right click on the camera, go to show F curves, and as you can see here, we have these F curves. Let me just zoom in right over here. Okay, we don't need the F curve for the camera. We need it for the spline, I think. Yeah. So for the align to spline, so right click, right click, show F curves, and yeah, there it is, align to spline. So we can hide this camera. We can click on this. And as you can see here, you want to go and make some adjustments to the F curves. So let me just zoom in here for you guys. Let's press H. Yeah, H should do. Let's select only these keyframes and hit H, O, S. Yeah, okay. So as you can see here, you can click on that and you can slowly move it. You can slowly move these tangents over here to get the appropriate and best setting. So you want to make it like a loopable video. So you don't want it to stop slowly and then start slowly. You want it to have a uniform motion, and that happens by you just have to play around, and you know, everything happens. Okay, so now we have a simple animation which becomes a loopable animation. Perfect. So now if we play this once again, let's see what we have over here. That's crazy, that's awesome, that's looking great, and boom, as you can see here, it's a beautiful loopable intro. Now for the materials, it's pretty simple. So I have a color channel over here with a brightness of 95 and a simple reflectance channel. I added a GGX and set the brightness to 5. That's it, guys. And then you just want to go ahead and change the color. If you guys want the color, these are the colors that I have used. And there's a color right over there, and this is a black one. That's good. So I applied the blue to the body, and for, let's get away from the camera, and for the lens I used, let's see, what did I use for the lens? For the lens I used the black one, for the tube I used the gray one, and for these two as well I used the gray one, and for the top one I used the darker gray one. That's it, guys. You just have to apply the materials. Now for lighting, I use the HDRI studio rig that is over here. So you can go to your content browser and add the HDRI studio rig, and I've used which preset, let's see, the 3 boxes studio, the default one, and I also added a seamless floor. So the seamless floor, you just want to bring it down on the ground so that it touches the camera, and then just add some nice gradient to it. And into our render settings, we have ambient occlusion and global illumination, and I have set the samples to low because it renders pretty fast. And if I hit Ctrl R, which is a shortcut for rendering, as you can see here, guys, that is it. We have a brilliant background, kick-ass shadows, beautiful camera animation, and you can actually rotate the HDRI studio rig, so you know, to left and right. So let me just show you guys. Okay, seen by camera, yeah. And if I do the rotation, why can't I see it? Yeah, there it is. So as you can see here, if I do the rotation, you can actually see the 3 softbox studio which is rotating, and based on your looks and preferences, you can go ahead and change the rotation. So I'm just going to Control Z that, set that to 0, And that is it, guys. So that's the way to create this jumping camera animation. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe for more Cinema 4D tutorials, and I will see you guys in my next video. So till then, take care and bye bye.